Warning! In this video we're testing some crazy high-res medium format cameras. You're going to see skin pores and texture and detail that would make a dermatologist blush. You have been warned. Hey folks, welcome to Jersey. Today I am visiting my buddy Tom, shooting in his studio to do a little bit of more medium format fun. Now, if you saw the recent video out hiking comparing the Fuji 50R and the Hasselblad X1D2, that was with him. Today we're taking it to the next level. I have the Fuji 100 megapixel. It's actually 102 megapixel, and this is what all the fuss is about. This is their new 102 megapixel backside illuminated sensor. It's actually exactly the same size as the 50 megapixel one, which makes it about 67-ish% bigger than full frame 35 millimeter. Now, you've probably heard people talk about that these aren't big in terms of medium format, despite the fact that Fuji call this large format. So today we're gonna compare it to one of the real big boys. This is Tom's 100 megapixel IQ3 trichromatic phase 1. This is also 100 megapixel, but man, this is a real big boy's toy. This is about another 50% bigger than the Fuji sensor, which makes it about 250% bigger than 35 millimeter, if my maths all works out. This thing is an absolute monster. I'm not suggesting that anyone's going to be directly comparing these, but I just want to draw out the user experience of these two. The technology is quite different in them, and that 100 megapixel medium format, they're not all made the same. So we're going to shoot with these side by side. We've got a couple of great models coming in, makeup artists, all that good stuff. Going to bring you along, show you some files from each one, my thoughts using them hands-on, and let's see how they compare. So as per the warning, a shoot like this requires an excellent makeup artist. We had model Mary in for the day, and Ashley did a great job in making her over to be camera ready. I gave her a couple of inspiration images for the kind of thing that I was keen to shoot, and Tom was on board for as well. They were basically some studio hardcore inspired shots. So whilst they went away and shot, Steph had just arrived, so we did some test shots as we got the Prio lights all set up. Kindly, Tom had gone and got a Fuji trigger so that we would be able to test the GFX 100 with it. So I was just going through and making sure everything was firing and connecting, and I was getting repeatable results, getting the lighting vaguely set up to where I wanted it. Then we went through and picked out some different outfits to complete the look of what we were going for the first shoot with Mary as Ashley finished things off. Let's just take a quick look at the gear. Now, you know this camera, I'm sure that's why you're here. 102 megapixel backside illuminated phase detect. It's got stabilization built in. It's a real breakthrough in the medium format world. As I said, the sensor isn't nearly as big as the phase 1, but it's still big, and it's still over 100 megapixel in a system that you can actually take out. Now, I had a bunch of different lenses to test out over the last 2 weeks. The 32 to 64, my favorite, the 110mm f2, the 120 f4 macro. This got a lot of use today at this shoot, and the 23 f4, as well as an ultra wide 17mm Laowa lens and an 85mm f1.2 Speedmaster manual focus for the GFX system. I'll pop links below to all of that so you can check those out. So, with Mary already, got the Prio lights all set up. Note, this isn't a sponsored video, just it was my first time using them. Tom has a whole collection of them and they work fantastic. So, we got it all set up. I wanted to have continuous lights in the background. It's great having these modeling lights to be able to see the shot as you start to build it up. Then, of course, when you actually stop down to shoot, the lights fire at a much more intense power to keep your exposure. So we basically wanted to have the nice cross of light in the background and then a moody light and dark with a sharp fall off of shadow without being too contrasty. So we had a gridded small light up close, which we then further diffused. The lights in the background, a barn door off to the side to give a little bit of an edge light, and it came out really nice. We both shot away. I was shooting with the Fuji, Tom with the phase 1, and got a couple of different looks here that we liked. Now, I felt that Mary had a little bit of an Amy Winehouse look about her as well, so I tried to keep that in mind as I was putting together my images. Then, having gotten enough of this look, Steph was just about ready to shoot, so we went down and got her all sorted out for her first look. Now, her whole first concept was based around one piece of jewelry, the necklace, which my wife, who was there for the day, had the smart idea of turning upside down so it pointed to the sky rather than sitting naturally on the chest bone. And it creates a really interesting light pattern. And then just, tucking her t-shirt down to give the appearance of open shoulders, which is what we were looking for. So I've switched to this guy, which is a lot smaller. It's going to make it harder. We should get some nice shadows off the neck there, but it is still diffused to give a slightly soft light on the face. I'll be honest, one of the reasons I love shooting with Steph, she has fantastic skin and I'm way too lazy to do all that retouching. So I may take the diffuser off and make it crazy hard just so we really get those, the shadow pattern from the necklace. Modeling lights give you the best of both worlds. You can pre-visualize the shot as with the continuous, but then still have a decent, and focus with it, but then have a decent, those clavicles, decent working aperture. Clavicles, and I guess that's just called cheekbones, but you have all the bones. You'll note through this one that the direction of her face makes a huge difference on the final image, whether she has her eyes open and then the lashes are casting a shadow, the eyes closed so they cast a different shadow. If we have her chin up or down, it gets a different vibe from being just edgy to being kind of scary. If she looks towards the light, then we get a full fill-in of light. If she looks away, we get really dramatic shadows as well. So it was a really fun look. We went through and got a bunch of different options here. I really like the results that came up from this. And I have to say, it is so great having a space like this of Tom's that's dedicated to be able to shoot. Of course, you can do this with lower end equipment in a smaller space like I did recently with Johanna, this 6-light setup. It's all about knowing how to use the light. If you want to create portraits like this yourself, check out my Take Control of the Light download series. It walks you through all the variables of light you need to understand to put together shots like this. Next up, Tom wanted to do some gelled shots with Mary, so he put red to one side, blue to the other, a classic to separate the cold and warm sides, and then a small light in front to fill in and neutralize those colored shadows that would have been cast across her face. Some interesting looking shots there. I got a couple myself just so we would have some comparisons later in the day, and at this point I got the opportunity to shoot with the phase myself. It's a completely different beast to the Fuji. The single focal point makes it interesting. It's a different experience. It's still easy in the studio, but not something that I would want to be shooting with on location in anything but quite a controlled situation or a landscape. Now, what I mean by single focal point and the recompose, this has a gyro built in and just a single central focal point. So you actually focus on your subject and then rotate the camera, but it remembers that point in space and will keep it sharp and adjust the focus to get it right. And it's surprisingly accurate. Next, Tom put together this outfit for Steph, which to me looks a little bit Michael Jackson inspired. The suit with the rose and the hat and everything. Of course, Steph can rock any look. So we got some different shots here again. Tom was going for a full body shot. We were going for different looks essentially. Now for this one, I wanted to get some really hard edge light on her, just wrapping around. So we started with just the edge lights, giving her this really contrasty look on her face. Then we brought the single light back in front at a much lower power, so it was giving us feel, giving us detail on her face, but still the edge lights from behind are really giving us a crisp separation to bring her out. Now, I actually filmed a conclusion on location, but the audio was all messed up, so let's jump in the studio the following day and I'll wrap up there. Okay, so as I said, I really don't think those two cameras are head-to-head comparable. The Phase 1 is in a whole different world. Apart from being a much more expensive and significantly bigger sensor, the experience of using it is just completely different. But I did want to get into that kind of situation with a bunch of different lights and a talented makeup artist to be able to test out what this camera itself can do. And looking around it, it's scary, the level of detail. Maybe I'm a Luddite, or maybe I'm just a tech whore, but in the past I've so often heard people saying, 30 megapixels, 40 megapixels, 50 megapixels, whatever the number, it's just too much detail that then you need to retouch, and I wouldn't want that for portraits, And my default response has always been, I want more details. More details are great, give it to me, I love that kind of stuff. But here with 102, I kind of see their point now. Zooming in, the world's best makeup artist, every brushstroke is still going to be revealed. Any little skin blemish, and I don't really like the word blemish. I think that freckles and this and that are what make us unique, and I actually like that stuff. So, I shared some shots already to social media. Once they're down-resed and then compressed to go onto social media, you're not seeing any of that anyway. But yes, it's absolutely true. If you are doing high-end retouching to go to print, you're going to have so much information here to work with. And if that's what you're after, that's a huge win. If it's going to make your job a lot more difficult, it's something to consider. And I find that even with a fully spec'd out 2019 laptop here, with an external GPU, it's still taking seconds to render the shots. Having said that, it's great that this and the phase both will run in Capture One. Capture One supports both the systems. They don't support other medium format makers other than those two at the moment. Tom has sent me over some of his raw files as well from the trichromatic 100 megapixel phase. So let's have a look at those. Okay folks, let's take a look at some shots here. These first ones are taken with phase 1. Now these are pretty much straight out of camera, maybe a little exposure boost, but that's all for all the shots I'm showing you here. I'll show you some final images a bit later, but so these ones are taken with phase 1. Here we can see the 100 megapixel, and it's got the lens listed here, so you can see all of that. So clicking around, going into 100%, I mean, it's just insane, right? The level of detail, the color, it's just gorgeous. And this is out of camera. If we choose a shot like this that has some really dark shadow areas and we bring up the exposure, you can see just how much is retained in the background there. I mean, it's out of focus because the focus is on her. But, going stops and stops up, we're not losing the shot too much. It's at ISO 200, not 100, but so be it. It's just out of this world. And if you are going in and trying to make everything completely flawless, you have so much more detail, like the hairs on hairs. Some of these close-up shots, I think, I don't know if it's with this camera or the other one I was looking at, you can see like the dust sitting on the eyelashes. It's really over the top. So here we're seeing her natural eyelashes and then the fake ones that are being put on top. Supreme amount of detail, but it just gives you so much in terms of editing options. That said, at a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 system, this is clearly not for everyone. Let's take a look at some of the Fuji shots. Again, just take a look at, so these two, I think actually I put on one of the, what do they call them, styles. This one is Breeze, and this one I think, I put on Soak Up the Sun. If you want to check out Capture One, I'll pop a link in the description below. It's the best editing software. I just love it for color correction and tethering. Nothing beats it. Just if you're using medium format, it needs to be phase 1 or Fuji because they don't support things like Hasselblad. Anyway, taking a look, one thing I noticed, the Fuji shots take quite a while longer to render. Now these have already been rendered and I've looked at them more than once, but taking a look, there's still a crazy amount of detail that we have in these shots. So this was with the Fuji 120 macro, and it's just insane. I mean, you can actually see the strokes of the brush from the makeup artist, and on a lot of cameras you wouldn't see these kind of retouches that she's had to do with the makeup, and all of the little flaking of the little bits of lipstick. It's On the wide shot, it's really nothing, and it's a quick little clone to take all of those details out. But if you wanted to be doing, really detailed beauty retouching, it's an issue. It's a good issue if you want the information to work with. It could be troublesome if you don't. Now, it's really hard to compare them one against the other exactly. I would say though, whilst I love the Fuji files and they're ridiculous, and for the price it's just so good, I do think overall the phase 1 shots have a more natural color straight out. Of course, with this kind of a system, you're going to be retouching all of that yourself. But I do find that 1, they edit quicker. 2, so maybe the file setup is, more efficient. 2, the color is better, and I do think there's still better detail retained. It's, but it's the difference between kind of looking at the Fuji again. It's the difference between exceptional and then with the phase, unbelievable. They're both just in the stratosphere. Okay folks, this has gone on long enough now. Check out the link in the description below. You can see both of these camera setups for yourself, and you can also download some files to Pixel Peep for yourself. Beware, they are gigantic files. I hope you enjoy them though. I plan to get the 100 in again to do a proper field tested video where I have several weeks uninterrupted time with it. So let me know what you would like to see tested in that, and I'll do my very best. I'll see you soon. Time to ship this one back to Fuji North America.